Now is the dramatic moment of fate, Watson, when you hear a step upon the stair which is walking into your life, and you know not whether for good or ill. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Tiltingground Untitled Notre Dame USC football podcast. I'm Michael Muto, and I'm here with Greg Flamong. Hi, Greg. How's it going?
Good, Michael.
That was some from Sherlock Holmes. I thought it was
I knew it
appropriate.
was. Yes,
the
Sherlock.
the Watson might have given it away for everyone else.
Yeah.
So I think they are both our teams are knocking on the door of important events in their season, and I thought that this is about fate and what could happen. And I wanted to start off with a general complaint, something I hate, and it's been all over the internet for USC fans. I'm sure some Notre Dame places have it too, and it's USC controls their own destiny. It's impossible because you can't control your destiny because the definition of destiny is the inevitable or necessary fate to which a particular person or thing is destined, one's lot, a premeditated course of events considered as something beyond human power or control. According to the definition of the word, you can't control it. And everyone says it, and it's so dumb, and I hate it. I hate it. I'm coming in hot today, Greg. I just want you to know that.
You are very upset.
It's so
This
dumb.
is this is not anticipated. I do not know how to make you feel better about this, other
It's
than
a,
to say it's usually best not to sweat the small stuff.
Thank you. I needed that.
That's all I can really say about it.
You wait till we get to Notre Dame. I got all kinds of stuff. Um,
Oh,
but we are going to start with SC.
all
And
right.
another thing that I'm heated about is who
Be
puts
heated.
a game on Friday night? What a dumb thing. It was so
No,
dumb.
I'm just more disappointed that we weren't good enough to figure this out.
Oh, we should have
I
said
mean,
something last week.
it, my wife saw it. She was like, she put it on, and I was like, what? Why are we watching? I saw USC Colorado, and for some reason, because it was Friday, and usually these games are all, Thursdays,
Right.
and it's either Thursday or Saturday. You don't see the Friday game. So for some reason, I felt like she found a Pac-12 basketball game.
Because it did start.
Yeah, so college basketball started, so I just figured, oh, that's what's going on. And then, so I caught it, and it was 17-6. And I thought, oh no, like I have to be watching this game. I have to talk to Mike about it.
Oh man, it was
So,
the same thing over here. I actually have like a calendar with all the games on it on my phone, and it sent me a reminder. And I thought, huh. As I was driving home from work, I'm like, that's weird. I wonder why it sent the reminder right now. There's a game
yeah.
about the game. The game's, whatever. So then I get home. I'm going through my Twitter feed, looking at USC stuff on the internet, getting ready for the game, and I see a tweet that says kickoff temperature like 50 degrees. I'm like, huh? How are they gonna know what the temperature is tomorrow?
How do they know?
That's really weird. They're like, who cares? Why do I care right now? And there's like another
Yeah.
one, like light, some snow on the ground on campus. The field's good. I was like, but there's a whole. I was like, oh, that's weird too. Then I saw something about like a putt. And I went, oh, the game's on. The game's on right now.
Yeah.
Think I know.
So, yeah, so I caught the gist of it, thankfully.
I mean, we didn't miss much. That's for damn sure.
I can speak somewhat intelligently about what happened.
Yeah, like I recorded it and I had the replay, so
Yeah.
I'm good to go too. Oh man, I still can't believe it. I'm so mad that there was a game on Friday night.
It's very weird.
It's just like who wants to watch that? Don't that's not a. And then they complain all the time about USC playing on Thursdays, and I didn't see one thing all week about anyone complaining about USC playing on a Friday.
Yeah. I'm so
Oh,
disappointed because had I known, and even if it wasn't Friday, but had I known that, like I feel like I should have been all over it. Do you remember who I picked, like whether I took the points or gave the points or what I did last week in the
I
picks?
I think I think you took the points.
Oh, okay. I mean, it did seem a little aggressive just from the fact that like Colorado hasn't been their regular bad selves. Um, but it's such a classic like start slow game.
Right.
Like it's Friday, so that's weird. And then you have, you're playing Colorado. It's hard to really like get up for them because they're not that good, but they're
It's
kind
high
of
up
like,
there. It's in Boulder.
yeah, it's like they're kind of just like they're sneaky competitive to where if you don't play well, then they can
We'll hang
they
around.
can give you problems, and like so for USC this game is just kind of whatever. But Colorado is a building program, so this game means a whole lot to them.
They're all big games for Colorado because they're terrible.
Yeah, well,
They have to win.
especially against a team like USC, where it's like there's cachet to that. If they can beat USC, it's like that's something that their program can build off of. So they're going to come in fired up. Like you say, it's at night. It's probably really cold. So I mean, USC getting off to a slow start was, I mean,
Pretty inevitable.
too obvious. Yeah, it was almost too obvious.
And I believe we called Colorado frisky last week. That was the word we used to describe them.
They took UCLA to the brink on the road. So, and this was before UCLA decided that they were bad. So, there's a lot of teams like that. Like just college football is kind of like that, especially in the Pac-12. I mean, that's the thing about. It's funny because the Pac-12s. I mean, they're not going to get a playoff team this year for sure. Now that Stanford lost.
Yeah, thanks Stanford.
But like they're like I feel like if like Cal or who else, like Arizona State, Washington, like if like they were playing in the Big Ten this year, like I feel like they'd all do pretty well.
Because everyone's kind of competitive. Everyone's kind of good.
Everyone's kind of good. Yeah, I mean, look at Oregon. They're a 3-loss team.
But we'll get to them.
Yeah. So
yeah. I mean, everyone's kind of good in the Pac-12, and it's just one of those things. You can't take anybody lightly, and Colorado even had their backup quarterback, which couldn't believe that they got to hang around with that.
Yeah.
I mean, SC did not look good for actually the whole game, really. I know they won and they got up by a touchdown, but I mean, it took the Dory Jackson blocked field goal, which was fun. Yeah. But I mean, if it wasn't for that, who knows what happens? Ronald Jones got 20 carries, the thing everybody wanted. He did okay, but it wasn't the 400 yards you'd expect or whatever.
He didn't break one.
No. So I mean, I think maybe a little more equal distribution, but no Trey Madden, so that probably slowed things down for the running game a little bit. Justin Davis was good. We like Justin Davis here.
He's a good player.
I think we have him rated correctly, and everyone else has him just a little underrated.
Juju was his fiery self.
It's always. It's got to be like taxing on his personality to just be always so angry.
He must he must meditate or something like in his off days to where it's like he can gear up for this emotional.
He just saves it.
He's on, and he is just like it's probably one of those things where it's like off the field he's really soft spoken and nice guy. And then he gets on the field and he flips the switch or whatever. I mean, how often do you hear that about people?
I imagine he's just yelling at everyone all the time. He's sitting in class yelling at teachers like, no, I don't understand what you're saying. Fix this. This is not a good lecture. Bring it. You bring this poli-sci lecture.
Pounding his chest every time.
It's like, who got that math question right? Juju got the math question right.
Juju.
I imagine he's fiery all the time. He had the big touchdown at the end. On the touchdown to the fullback, which everyone knows how I feel about throwing to fullbacks.
You love it.
Juju Smith wide open, but open in the end zone. he ran that little dig round or comeback. I don't know, whatever you want to call it. But of
Hey man,
course,
degree of difficulty.
he's just Cody Kessler said, "No, he can't have all my touchdowns. I gotta just fire one into the fullback here from 2 yards away as he's covered." Oh, I almost had a heart attack. This guy drops the ball because I knew the way the camera was. I was like, "Oh, he's not throwing to Mr. Smith Schuster here. He's throwing to the fullback." Oh man, but he caught it. They scored a touchdown. Actually, I should be nice. They only ran the ball 37 times. Yeah, 37 times. But I feel like they didn't have it that much, so I can't really get
Yeah, it's
get
another one
too
of those
mad
things.
that
Like, they
they
just
didn't
didn't
put a
have the
big
ball
number.
that often.
Yeah, it was a weird game. Cody Kessler's probably not who he thought he was. So that's something they like to say on the NFL podcast. Um,
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on with him. Uh, I mean, he's fine, but he's not
Well, we've
great.
kind of talked about it. I mean, they just don't have the weapons like USC is used to having.
But I mean, they have the
I mean,
best.
they've got Juju, but you know, the second or third guy. I mean,
I
Steven
guess
Mitchell, like he's coming off an injury, and
he was kind of
Darius Rogers.
on the interception. Stephen Mitchell was kind of a part of the problem there.
Yeah, and Darius Rogers.
He hasn't done
You
anything
know,
all year.
he's had a hamstring, and
Sure.
those are hard to get rid of. You know, and then you got Jalen Green, who, I mean, I don't know if he's a quarterback or a receiver or what he's supposed to be, but
He just kind of
you
hangs
know, he's
out.
not. Yeah, he's not anything that you know it would scare a defense. Is no one's saying like, oh, we better roll a safety for Jalen Green, you know. So um, he's just not there as a player. So I mean, yeah, like
Got part-time Adoree Jackson.
yeah, part time, but it's like they don't really. I mean, they run him in the flat, so he's either wide open or he's covered.
Right.
It seems like anyway. So um, it, you know, it makes it difficult when guys aren't you know running free. You know, and you don't really want to force balls in there because that's what gets you in trouble. So, you know, it's a little bit harder for him this year. He doesn't have as many guys.
I guess, but I mean, I guess last year he had Aguilar and Smith-Schuster. But I don't know. I just feel like if you're so good, you have to make some plays sometimes. If you're supposed to be one of the best players on the team, it's your job to make plays. And I feel like he never makes plays. The other guys make plays, and that's kind of a knock on Cody Kessler.
Um,
I can't like off the top of my
I
off the top
think
of my
I
head.
do have a point there. Like I don't feel like he's a playmaker out there.
Yeah, I can't off the top of my head. I can't think of like, oh man, remember when he, did a spin move off the defensive tackle, and like I was on the run and hit somebody on a slant, and the rest was history. Or he found the guy in the corner of the end zone after, you know, with two guys holding on to him as he's throwing. Like I can't think of any of that stuff. Maybe there's one or two, but off the top of my head, I can't think of any big Cody Kessler plays that don't involve the receivers doing something cool.
Well, Mike, Joe Schmidt can only play for one team, so
Oh man, I have a Joe Schmidt story for you too when we get to Notre Dame. But yeah, it was a boring game. They were losing. This is the first time. I think I texted it to you. This is the first time since 2005 USC has come back from a double-digit halftime deficit. So that's kind of impressive.
you did text me that.
Yeah.
I was thinking when you texted it, it's like, well, yeah. I mean, how often are they down double digits at all?
Well, Lane Kiffin never did it, so he was down. I saw
Right.
the stat today. I don't have it in front of me right now, but he had a couple. He had a couple, and he was 0 and whatever in his double-digit halftime deficits.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of teams don't come back from double digits because they're usually not very good.
Yeah, you get yourself in a bad spot like that.
It's like either USC is either beating you or they're better than you,
Right.
or they're just not that good, and that's why they're down double digits. So
Uh,
it's hard to come back.
what else happened in the game that was of note? Yeah, they had the block kick was pretty fun. I liked that.
Well,
Um,
I think we should. I mean, we'd be remiss if we didn't talk about the Amon Marshall penalties
That's true.
that are just a weekly.
He had his usual weekly pass interference holding penalties.
It's just it's just a weekly tradition now. It's fucking.
The breaking of a freshman, watching an 18-year-old kid
It's
will
just you know
slowly
what
be
too.
destroyed.
Like I feel like all of them are still like they could go either way. It's like all of his pass interference penalties are holding penalties. Like they could go either way, and they always go against him.
Always.
They could just as easily not call it, and no one would really care.
I'm waiting for him to tackle it, wide receiver, just to be like, oh yeah, we're gonna call penalties on me. Let's make them count. I know
He's just so unhappy.
He might transfer.
Never celebrate his good plays. He's just out there.
He's pretty good in coverage the whole game. Oh, pass interference. Oh, holding. That's the only time his name gets called. Poor kid. I like him. He'll be good.
Yeah. I mean, it's one of those performances that, like, it's like just win it and, get ready for the big one against Oregon.
Right. So Cam Smith got hurt, our guy, freshman superstar Cam Smith. And I saw a tweet that went out that said he was the team's leading tackler and the leading interception getter and the leading pass defender or pass deflector. So that's not good. I know. I would have thought somebody else had. He's probably tied for interceptions. I probably should have looked at that before I said anything. But I made fun of Temple when their linebacker had their most interceptions. And I guess that's kind of what I get for saying that. Well, sorry, Temple. So that's going to hurt. And what's going to hurt even more is Lamar Dawson also out for the rest of the season. He has a shoulder he has to have surgery on. So he played his last games for USC. Poor guy. So now there's a giant hole at middle linebacker, and they're going into Oregon.
Yeah, that's not really.
It's not what you want.
It's not really where you want to have new people.
No. So for everyone listening, the game is at Oregon on Saturday at 12:30. Just so we all know what time the game is.
Saturday, 12:30 at Oregon.
At Oregon. Oregon's good now, by the way. So that's also fun. At the beginning of the season, you thought this would be a good game, and then both teams kind of hit a little skid, and now both teams have righted their ship. So I don't know.
Oregon is definitely not the team that got 60 dropped on them by Utah. Well, at least their offense isn't.
Well, their quarterback was hurt. What's his name? Vernon Adams Jr.
Oh yeah, he had the finger thing. Right?
Yeah, he broke his finger, and so he was kind of shaky for the beginning of the season. Now he's back and he's good. So that's not good for USC. Their running back, what's his name? Royce Freeman. He's back, or he never left, but now he has a quarterback to help him out. So that's scary. And now there's no middle linebacker to tackle him. The USC defensive line's been playing a little better, so I feel like that should ease the burden a little bit. But man, I don't know. No Cam Smith, no Lamar Dawson. That's bad news for USC.
Yeah, I mean it's going to be one of those games. It'll probably be like this the Stanford Oregon game, like 38-36, something like that. It's just going to be there's going to be a ton of offense.
I hope, but what did you just say about SC, man? Like they don't have the weapons they used to, and it's like it's Oregon, so you'll get some points, but I don't know. Can they keep up? I don't know.
Well, I think that what they can do against Oregon that maybe they weren't able to do against Colorado is I think they'll be able to run the ball. And I think that against a team like Colorado, like you tend not to do like all your kind of like exotic stuff, right? Like so, like they're not going to get Adoree Jackson in the matchup. Like you're not going to try to do that because like you don't really need to. It's like, hey, we can just do our kind of basic stuff and we should be able to do good enough.
Right.
Whereas against Oregon, like you bring out all the plays that you kind of practice but don't always run in games. That's kind of
the whole playbook's wide open.
Go.
You might see an onside kick. You're gonna see Jalen Green throw the ball. You're gonna see Dory Jackson do his little wheel route, out route thing out of the
Yeah,
backfield.
and to be honest, like it's a lot easier for these guys to get up and play Oregon than it is to
Right.
go and play Colorado.
I am.
So they're going to be excited. And honestly, like when was the last time like USC didn't show up in one of these games?
That's true. I mean, I don't think they've been blown out by Oregon in forever.
Yeah,
They
like they're
actually
not going to
usually
get blown out.
they usually beat them. I mean, or play close.
I mean, it'll probably be like a one possession game. I mean, it'll come down to maybe like turnovers, red zone scoring. It's just like with Notre Dame and Clemson, like same thing. Like if USC turns it over 4 times like Notre Dame did, then they'll probably lose.
Yeah, that'll be bad.
Yeah, so I mean, it's just one of those things. Like, yeah, there's matchups, and you can talk about this guy and that keys to the game, and I mean, definitely like USC's linebackers being out is, I mean,
Troublesome.
that's a real thing because like you don't want anyone kind of new on defense going up against Oregon. So, that makes it difficult.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like I think SC's gonna score enough to stay with them, and then it'll come down to a play or two.
I hope so. The one thing I am kind of sad about is
I'm rooting hard, man.
I know you need it. You need it.
Because Stanford kind of ruined everything.
Yeah, they ruined everything for everyone. Thanks, Stanford.
Losing to that goofball team.
I know. What I was gonna say was the one thing I'm sad about is when Oregon comes down to Los Angeles, they always wear the all-white uniforms, and it looks pretty cool. And now I don't know what uniforms they're gonna wear when they're the home team.
They do definitely look cool in all white.
I love when they wear all white. It looks really fun. And now I'll just wear some stupid like the varsity one with the U and the O and the weird colors or something. What else? Anything else good about Oregon USC or anything we missed around town? Oregon's defense is allegedly a little better than usual. It's something that was hinted around the old interwebs these last couple of days. But I mean, still better than usual. Gives up like 40 points a game.
They gave up 36 on Saturday, and they were helped by Stanford not being able to snap the ball. So.
I still can't believe. Oh, what we should talk about is that Utah lost. So USC, if they win out, they go to the Pac-12 title game. So
they control their own destiny.
As lazy people across the sports world will say for the coming weeks, USC controls their own destiny because Utah lost.
Control their own destiny.
Oh, I hate you.
No, I mean, they're in the driver's seat. If they win out, then they will play for the Pac-12 championship.
Which is fun, which is something, and they're ranked now. I didn't say that either. I forgot that little. The coaches have them ranked. They think they're 22. And who knows where the college football playoff people have them. I mean, it's not like they're going to crash the party, but it's just nice to see a number next to the team you root for's name.
They need to get it. Honestly, keep winning and get into like the top 15.
Yeah, Rose Bowl, baby.
That's what I say.
That's all I want.
Yeah.
I want USC in the Rose Bowl. That'll make this all worth it. And then they get a new coach that I like.
There you go. No, man, keep helping. He's good.
Yeah, that's what you want.
No, he's real good.
Our guy Cam Smith, he tweeted Helton 2016.
There it is.
So I mean, the players want him.
He's going to run for president.
That's what I thought. Him and Bernie Sanders, I imagine, would be some kind of fierce ticket. Or maybe it's him and who knows. Anyways, sorry. So that's USC. Oh, we got to do they're a 4-point underdog. So it's USC +4 at Oregon. Who you got?
I'm taking the points.
I'm gonna take the points too. I want to see. I want to watch this. I want to see what destiny has in store for USC. All right. Now speaking of another team that needs to win out, and they will probably be in the college football playoff, it's the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. They played Wake Forest, and that game was also kind of boring.
It was very boring.
It was senior day. That was fun. I liked watching all the guys walk out and hug their moms and stuff. That's always
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah, Sheldon Day had the little choreographed
Yeah, his
handshake
mom,
with his
his
mom.
mom ran like 15 yards from where she was supposed to meet him towards him, and then they did their little dance handshake thing. It was great, and the
Yeah.
announcer even had a nickname for her. That
What
was,
was that? I didn't
I
hear
think it
that.
was, it was Mrs. Excitement. I believe he's like, and now number 91, Sheldon Day and his mom, whatever her name is, Mrs. Excitement. and
Oh, I like
and
it.
then she ran to do the
I'm in.
handshake.
I'm in.
I like it. It's fun. I like that stuff. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, I mean, just like you were saying about USC, you don't, you don't go deep in your playbook when you play Wake Forest. You run your vanilla stuff and just hope that you can beat them, right? I mean, that's what happened. It wasn't like Notre Dame was playing all that bad. It was just, keep it simple. Let's beat Wake Forest and head out to Boston, right?
Yeah, I mean, if you had talked to me yesterday, this would have been a very different conversation. Um, but but now that the game is over and I've kind of like thought about it, I mean, look, I think that we I when I say we, I mean Notre Dame fans. We kind of
Oh,
forget that like while like they are number four now, and so they're a number four ranked team, which would put them in the playoffs. We forget that yes, they do have a redshirt freshman quarterback, and they did have a true freshman starting running back, and they did have a true freshman starting tight end, and you know it. It's like yeah, they've played well, but at the same time, like these guys are all in their first years of really playing football, and sometimes what you get when you have all these injuries is that you have these players who are good, but they're going to be inconsistent and they're not going to come to play at the top level every single week. Um, and I think that Kaiser came out and he played okay. He didn't play terrible, but he wasn't sharp. He probably missed some stuff early. He's overthrowing the ball. It seemed like every pass he wanted to be like a touchdown. Um, and he just wasn't pinpoint with those passes. And consequently, like they never had the ball, and Notre Dame couldn't get off the field um, until Wake Forest got into the red zone, and then Notre Dame shut them down. Um, so, and I think another thing is, there's like kind of whispers that Notre Dame's starting offensive line, like four of them have ankle sprains or whatever, or like high ankle sprains. So, they're not doing that much in practice,
oh,
and they're, that's why in the running game they were kind of getting beat up because it's hard for them to kind of get that push because their ankles hurt or whatever. I
that's
mean,
weird.
they didn't get
You
a
think they'd say something?
well. I mean, it's not like the NFL, right? Like they don't have to say. They can just say, yeah, like he's a little dinged up, and then they go out there and play.
Huh?
I mean, they pass blocked okay. They pass blocked just fine. But in the running game, they definitely got pushed around a little bit. So I think you're starting to see Notre Dame. I think you're starting to see them wear down a little bit. I think the defensive line, especially, they tried to rest people like Sheldon Day. He didn't play all the plays like he usually does. They brought in some backups, and those guys are backups for a reason. There was one play where Wake Forest fumbled. The kid goes back and he gets hit, and it looked like he maybe might have been throwing, but as soon as you see it, you're like, oh, jump on the ball. And they've got a backup in there at D line, and he's standing there looking at it, thinking it's incomplete. And meanwhile, like the rest of the entire field behind him, they're all running after the ball and trying to jump on it. Um, and he ended up getting an earful from
What
Brian
one would
Kelly.
imagine.
Yeah, so he got immediately pulled.
But they had the fun interception D lineman return for a touchdown, watching a big guy run.
They did. That was very fun. I enjoyed that thoroughly.
The quarterback, when he threw it or whatever he did, it was when he saw Big Sheldon Day coming down at him. and he just panicked, and the ball just floated out of his hand.
Yeah, he did the ball slippy thing.
I don't know what poor guy. He didn't know what was about to hit him.
Yeah.
But I
So
think
it's an uneven performance. Like, and I think that people are concerned about, what it means for the playoff committee. There were no style points gained. They didn't dominate, and they're afraid that people are going to jump over them. But I mean, Iowa barely beat Iowa State, or Minnesota. I'm sorry, Iowa barely beat Minnesota. Number 6 was Baylor, who lost. Number 7 was Stanford, who lost. Oklahoma State barely beat Iowa State. That was a team. They were losing for most of that game, and they got lucky, and I think they got a pretty favorable call at the end. So that's number 8, and number 9 is LSU, who lost. So
I mean,
I think Notre Dame's pretty safe at 4 for this week.
well, the college football playoff committee, they had them at 4 when the things first came out. So you think they kind of like Notre Dame already. Maybe they change it up, but going into it, it looked like they had some favoritism towards Notre Dame, since people thought they wouldn't be that high. So I think Notre Dame's
they were
okay.
definitely impressed with what they'd done. And they said in the last one that Notre Dame was a solid number 4. So I didn't see anyone do anything last week that would make me think that they're not a solid number 4 anymore. So
Yeah,
um,
yeah. I mean, they won. What are they supposed to do? Score 50? Like, they won. Wake Forest
yeah, I
only scored
mean,
one touchdown.
you win by 21 points. You've done well for yourself.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
um,
Let's
yeah,
talk about the big run. I mean, that Josh Adams run was pretty legit. That was another little fun point of interest for Notre Dame. He like high stepped a guy, then stiff armed the other guy, then just took off. I mean, the receivers couldn't
he
even
did.
catch him.
He did. I mean, the kid's a revelation.
He's going to be good, hopefully, for you.
Yeah, I mean, he was kind of under the radar. Just that, I mean, he had torn his ACL at one point. So, coming in, you never know what you're going to get in that situation. He wasn't really highly recruited. He's like a 3-star guy, but when you tear your ACL, people don't really see you play. But the first game against Texas, he looked great, and and it was like, whoa, like this guy, he's ready to go, and he's so big. That's the thing. I mean, he's big and he's physical. He's got a little bit of an experience. Like, he missed a couple of cuts, I felt like, in the game on Saturday. But I mean, other than that, like, he
That's
does the things
nitpicking.
that you. Yeah, I mean, other than that, he does the things that you want him to do. He's good in the pass game, as far as picking up his assignments. So, yeah, I mean, Notre Dame looks pretty good at tailback going into next year, regardless of whether or not Prosise decides to come back for his 5th year, because they've got Tarian Folston, who's going to come back from his injury. So,
Yeah, they're set, man. They're going to have 2 quarterbacks, 3 running backs. They're going to have all the wide receivers. I mean, that's crazy. That's just crazy.
yeah.
Speaking of having all the wide receivers, the big news around the Notre Dame campus before the game is one of our favorites, another one of our favorites, Will Fuller, is decided to come back for his senior year. And some of us think there was an article floating around the internet about Will Fuller. Maybe he saw it. Maybe it influenced him. And though some of us may be the 2 people who do this podcast, but whatever.
Yeah. Hey, I can't confirm that he didn't see it. No, I mean, it's big. It's big news for the team. I mean, it definitely raises their ceiling as an offense going into next year. And I mean, they're gonna, receiver Chris Brown's gonna move on, but they think a lot of Equinemius St. Brown.
Oh, he's hurt, right?
Yeah, he just hurt his shoulder. Mike, can you pause it for a second? We gotta stop.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. Um,
You got baby steps to do.
yeah, I have baby stuff.
Hold
She's
on.
crying.
Just tell me when you're ready.
Okay. Um, all right, I'm gonna go away for a second. All right, just
Yeah,
hang
no
up.
worries. Just
All
tell
right.
me when you're ready. Oh, it's so nice out here. Um, huh. Hmm. Let's probably pause this. Beep. Hmm, hmm, hmm.
Hello.
Yep.
All right, sorry.
No worries. I'm getting good at
Okay,
this
so
editing thing.
yeah, so
Hold on, I gotta figure. I gotta think about where we were though.
yeah, we were talking about Will
Will
Fuller
Fuller.
coming back. Well, why don't I just pick it up from
Yeah, I think that works. So give me a.
just Will Fuller?
I'm gonna count
Okay.
and like then
Well,
give
let
us
me
some.
just tell you how this has got to go from now on. So, the baby's crying,
Okay.
so we might have to be starting and stopping a little bit.
All right. If you want, if we do it one more time, you want to just stop and then come back when the baby's asleep again. You know what I
Well,
mean?
but that's what. I don't know. Like that's kind of
Right. Right.
variable. Like right now she's sleeping. She could wake up.
Great point. All right. We'll just stay
So,
there. I mean, we only have like 20
all
more
right.
minutes left of this.
Okay.
All right.
So go ahead.
All right. Give me a pause here. I'll count, and then you start talking about Will Fuller.
Okay.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yeah. So I mean, Will Fuller coming back. That's a really big deal for Notre Dame next year. I mean, it raises their ceiling as an offense. Hopefully he'll come back a little bit stronger. Um, I noted in an article I wrote he has a little bit of the dropsies, and he can bobble the ball a little bit. So hopefully he works on that. I know Notre Dame's got some freshman receivers that they're really happy about. One of which Equinemius St. Brown, who just hurt his shoulder. And he's going to be out for the year. But Brian Kelly's been talking about him pretty much all fall, just about how he's ready to play. But he plays behind Will Fuller right now, and it's like you're not going to take Will Fuller off the field. So
Well, I told you that I had some. I was fiery today, and the next thing that had me going was personal belief here. It's kind of
okay,
weird to me. Will Fuller was great last year, right? I mean, he had all the yards and the catches and the touchdowns. It was weird that he didn't win the Blitnikoff. This year,
well, I
doing
think it was definitely weird that he wasn't like a
right,
semifinalist
right, right. He wasn't
or
on the
like on
list
the watch list.
this year, doing the same things. He's one of the hottest receivers in college football,
Yeah.
and I don't like it. It's weird to me when a guy like that wants to come back for his senior year. I think you want to be a competitor. This is sports. Like you want to be the best you can be, and to be the best wide receiver you can be, you play against professionals. And if you want to be smart and get a degree, come back. It's only a year. Who cares? And it's just so I don't. It's like a red flag, like to me about your competitiveness. I don't. I mean, I know I'm like being kind of a jerk here, but I don't like it. I think if you're a winner and you truly think you're the best football player in the world, and you need that edge to play, and you've showed it 2 years in a row. You're just wasting your time coming back for your senior year. Like it's just such a waste. I mean, I know you're a Notre Dame fan, and that is good for your football team. So it's easier for me to say this. I just don't like it. Like when Barkley came back for USC, I was like, "What are you doing? What are you doing? You're a quarterback. You're good. You're allegedly good, and go out there and show the world." And the proof was kind of in the pudding with that one because look at him now. You can't even start ahead of Mark Sanchez. So I don't like it. It's weird. It's weird to me, and I don't like it.
I guess I don't really like. There are things that he can do to improve himself as a player, though. That's the only thing. Like he's not a finished product.
Well, right, but can't he do those things on an NFL practice field? Can't he do those things in the off season with a trainer?
He can, but
He knows he's better than the DBs at Boston College. He knows he's better than the DBs at Pitt. It Now go test yourself.
But like who has he struggled with this year?
He didn't do that great last week against Wake Forest, to tell you the truth.
Okay, well I mean they probably didn't really they probably weren't looking to like we said like
Right.
you don't need to take shots when you can. So I guess my point
And
is
Clemson.
he
He
struggled.
looked that
He
great.
struggled. He struggled with Mackenzie Alexander, right?
Right.
And he struggled with Temple, who played him aggressive. So
Yeah.
Clemson played him aggressive, and Temple played him aggressive. And there was one other team that, I mean, he struggled somewhat against Florida State last year.
That was last year.
He was okay against LSU last year. I guess the point I'm making is like he's shown that he can struggle a little bit against guys who are big enough to jam him.
But how's he going to work on that?
So
What? How's he going to work on that when more than 3/4 of the guys he plays against can't even follow him on the field, let alone jam him?
Right, but my point is like, but my point is like, if I see that, then who do you else think sees that?
Scouts.
Scouts. So like, yeah, like it's easy for Todd McShay to be like, oh, well, he's my 17th best receiver now, and then he goes back and looks at film, and it's like, actually, he's not. And it's like now he's a second rounder or he's a third rounder, and then what?
Todd McShay still thinks Javin Sneed's one of the best quarterbacks around. So
yeah. So then what?
I understand.
So like he can make himself into a surefire first round receiver. I mean, look how it worked out for Michael Floyd, first round pick. Look how it worked out for Tyler Eifert, first round pick. I mean, both of those guys could have come out early, and as you said, proved that they're competitors and were the best in the world at their positions, but they stayed. Same for Zach Martin. There's no difference. Like they were all first round picks.
That's
and they
true.
could have, so it all worked out for them. And on the flip side, you had Stephon Tuitt, who came out early, and everyone says, pro potential, right? Especially as a sophomore. He got drafted in the second round, right?
He's good now.
Yeah, but now he's starting to get some run. But like he could have been a first round pick and gotten how much more money?
True story.
Same with Troy Nicholas. He was a tight end. He came out early, second round pick. Where if he'd stayed in school, put up big numbers, he could have been a first round pick like Tyler Eifert. Now, I mean, I was just watching the Arizona game. Like he's not even. They run two tight ends all the time. He's their third guy. So it's like, yeah, it's nice to be a competitor and all that stuff, but you can solidify yourself as a first-round receiver by coming back. And look, I don't know the kid. Like maybe getting his degree means more than We think it does. And it's like, yeah, you can go back to school whenever you want, or you can do it now.
All right, I'm looking at Michael Floyd's stats here, and to be fair, his sophomore year he got hurt, so then he came back and had the big junior year. So that's only one good year. He didn't have two good years in a row. I feel like I get it. If you have things you can work on and it's just one good year, like sure, come back. But when you have the two good years in a row, I feel like when you come back for the third, that's dicey. Like look at Andrew Luck. But he was there for 3 years. He had the three big years, and then he didn't come back for a senior year. He knew he was ready to go.
Well, yeah, but he also wasn't. He could have left after he was a redshirt junior. So like he'd had his degree.
Hmm.
So he was on campus for 4 years.
That's true.
Whereas Will Fuller's only been campus for 3.
This is true. If education is important to you, yes. But you tell me all the Notre Dame guys have to be on tracks. I mean, he doesn't have that much left.
He wants to graduate.
I know. I just think it's personally, if I were an evaluator of NFL talent, I'd have a box that I would check. And
if you want to have this argument, you can have this argument about Jalen Smith if he decides to come back.
Okay, because he is as good as he can get.
Because it's not that he's as good as he can get, but like he is like a top 10 pick.
But
it's like you can't improve your position. Like what?
Especially at
I guess I guess he could solidify himself as maybe the first round pick, but like I don't know, the way Notre Dame uses him, I don't really have that kind of I don't have that feeling. So
all right, I'll leave Will Fuller alone. I like the guy. He's fun to watch. So now Notre Dame is going off to Boston. I actually was going to start my little cold open with the Dropkick Murphy song, but it's a stupid song with terrible lyrics. When I looked at it. So they're going off to Boston. They're shipping off to Boston, and they're playing at Fenway Park. And it's actually a home game. And does Notre Dame have fun uniforms? I think I saw them.
They do. They're all green.
I like it, but better like a better all green than the Jets all green from Thursday night.
I hope so.
We hope. I like when teams have fun uniforms. So that'll be cool. Does Boston College get a fun uniform too, or no?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't think that's a part of it.
That's not a part of the Shamrock series.
No.
This is the Holy War, right? Boston College and Notre Dame. Probably an ill-timed point in to say that. As current events as they are. And let's see. All right. So Boston College, they are not very good. They're 3-7. I was looking over their wins. They're against Northern Illinois, 17-14. Howard, who is not a Division I school, and Maine, also not a Division I school. I did note though that no team has scored 30 points on Boston College. And I think when you're awful, like a 3-7 is awful, and you only beat, playoff subdivision teams or whatever it's called now, that's kind of impressive that no one's got to 30 on them.
Yeah, I mean they're like the number 1 defense in the country, right?
It's something like that.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
I mean, at least rushing. I mean, unfortunately, like 3 points is good enough to beat them sometimes.
that is the funniest part is that, you may not score 30, but you only need 7.
Yeah, so they have the worst. They have the number 1 rushing defense in the country, and they have the worst offense in the country.
I was looking at their top performers. Their best wide receiver has 216 yards. That's awful. That's like a Will Fuller game. That's a Juju Smith-Schuster game.
Yeah, it's not good.
I didn't even know their quarterback. I was looking at his stats. Whoever the leading passers, someone must have got hurt, or they must have changed something around because he only has 400 yards passing. Their leading passer only has 400 yards.
Mm,
That's garbage.
yeah. I mean, this is one of those games like, I the fact that they have a good defense, I mean, that can keep them in the game, you know? Um, like Wake Forest didn't have a good offense and they still had 340 yards in about 35 minutes of time possession. So, um, you know, it, when you have a good defense like that, you can always make a game of it. That, as was the case with Pitt, like I don't see Notre Dame having kind of two down games in a row. I just don't, and they historically do pretty well in the Shamrock series. The uniforms fire
Helps them
them up a
out.
little bit. Yeah, they perform well in this game, so um, I like them to do pretty well.
I would assume so. It might not be the blowout you expect, but it will be a decisive victory, I imagine. It'll never be in
Yeah,
doubt. Let's just say that.
yeah,
Even when it's
yeah.
0-0, I still think it won't be in doubt. Notre Dame's gonna win.
Hope not.
Our friends in Las Vegas, they have it as a 17-point spread. Notre Dame is a 17-point favorite. What do you think?
I'm gonna give the points.
I'm going to take the points just because I'm going to feel dumb on Saturday. That's why. Just want to feel dumb on Saturday. It'll probably be like 20 to, it'll probably be right around 20 to
Mike, I don't
30.
ever want you to feel dumb.
Oh, thank you. Um, so I said I had a Joe Smith, Schmidt story when I was
Okay.
looking for stuff about Boston College today and yesterday. I don't know how we missed it, but about 2 weeks ago, it was right before Halloween. There was a story in Newsweek about Joe Schmidt. That's just crazy to me.
Mm.
Newsweek about how he was a walk on and they told him he wasn't going to start. And no one wanted to recruit him. I, Newsweek, man. Like I'd get it if I saw that in like Yahoo Sports, like college football whip around, or or like 1 Foot Down, one of the Notre Dame blogs. Like, sure. Or we even saw the story on the Notre Dame fan page, and it's just
This just
like
isn't. This just isn't. This
he's
just
not
isn't a story. This should just not be a story anymore.
right. Like, 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 there.
I see you now. I cannot hear you. Right. Michael. I can't hear you. Michael. Turn your camera back on. I don't know. You heard what I said. Yeah, you were talking, and then you were gone. We were talking about Joe Schmidt. Hello? Oh, now you're gone. Amudo's gone.
Hello?
Oh, there you are.
All right, I just started back up. All right, I feel like if you just start talking about Joe Schmidt, I talked about how it's crazy. He's not Rudy. Blah blah blah. So you can kind of just say anything about Joe Schmidt, and we'd be good to go.
Okay. Count it down.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yeah, I mean, Joe Schmidt, I guess it would have been fine last year just because, like, he was new. Like, it was a new thing. He was a starter. He played well, and he got hurt, and then that's it. Now, I mean, so now he's like a 2-year starter, and he's a captain. Like, that story's gone. Like, he's the only thing he has in common with Rudy is they're both white.
Like, that's actually not funny because there's probably some real undertones to that comment.
Well, no, but like I'm just saying, like, that's the only thing they have in common. I mean, like, Rudy wasn't a preferred walk-on. Like, Joe Schmidt was a preferred walk-on. Like, they didn't have scholarships left to give him.
He has one now, right?
Yeah, of course he does.
Of course he does. Okay, just making sure.
He was the MVP of the team last year. Like, this is such an un-Rudy story. Like, maybe he was an underdog, but he's not anymore.
He's made it.
So, like, I mean, like, he had 9 tackles last week, which is great. That gives him 63 for the season through 10 games.
It's not bad, not great.
He's a starting middle linebacker.
I know.
Who never comes out. He plays every snap. 63 tackles. Like, that's terrible. Like, that's not good production. So it's like, we can talk about him all the time, and it's like, I guess I'll preface it by saying, like, yeah, he's a great kid. Like, I don't have a personal problem with him. I'm just saying, like,
needs to stop. Just needs to stop.
Well, no, like, he's just not. He's not performing very well. Like, he's not playing well. There's no other way to say it. So, I mean, I guess good for him, getting a Newsweek or whatever. But I'm just kind of tired of it being a story.
Well, do you have any other fun Notre Dame news and notes that are kicking around campus?
I don't have any Notre Dame notes, but I do have something that I want to talk about.
We got some time.
Yeah, because I wanted to talk about it last week and I forgot. I want to talk about replay, Michael.
Okay, this got you heated last time we brought this up.
No, this is what I don't get. And you know how much I love rugby.
You do. Greg loves rugby for everyone listening.
In the way that they do, like they set up their rules in their game and stuff. So you watch these games, and you hear all the time about how in order to overturn a call, there has to be indisputable evidence. Indisputable. Like there isn't one person you could pull off the street and say, what do you think happened here? They all have to say the same thing. And that is the standard for which you can overturn a call. Here's what I don't get about that, is that the original call is not made with certainty. They just kind of guess.
Right.
Like, all right, like maybe. You know, like, oh, I think his knee was down, so we're going to call him down. And it's like all of a sudden, the standard is, no, you have to be certain in order to overturn this uncertain decision. It's like, I don't get that. Like, why can't we just say, okay, what probably happened here? Like, what is most likely to have happened? And you see it all the time with, like, fumbles and, you know, the guy stepping out of bounds or whether he caught it or not. Like, why don't you just look at it and use common sense and say, this is how the play happened. And it just, they can't do it. I don't understand why the standard is so high when the original call is basically just, we have to call something. So I decided on one. I mean, how many times have you watched it and said, if they had called it this way, then they wouldn't have been able to overturn it. But since they called it this way, they can't. Like, it happens all the time.
Well, I'm always in favor of the referees calling, like, around the goal line in the NFL for say. I always think they should just call touchdowns. And then what's the worst that happens? They have to review it. Like, who gets hurt if it's a bang bang goal line play and you call a touchdown? No one. No one gets hurt because you have to review it. Whereas if you don't call a touchdown, some coach has to throw the flag or some official has to challenge if it's under 2 minutes. Like, turnovers. I'm using the NFL here. They have to be replayed as well. So it's like, call it a catch, call the interception a catch, and just see what shakes out.
This is what I like about, and we're going to take it to rugby. This is what I like about rugby. When something happens that's close, right? If it's called like a try is basically an end zone, so they call it a touchdown. I mean, so a touchdown is called a try in rugby. If there's a try, a disputed try, like maybe he did, maybe he didn't, the ref doesn't call anything. He just makes a signal that says we're going to replay. So there's no call in the field. The call is determined by replay.
It's like an official timeout, and then
they stop the game and they say go into replay. And so they check it out on replay. And so there's no standard of indisputable evidence. They actually have something called benefit of the doubt. So if you don't know and they're totally not sure, it's like there probably is this, but it's probably, we can't say for certain, then it's called the benefit of the doubt goes to the offense every time. It's like, I don't understand why that can't be instituted in the NFL. Like, why do they have to make a call every time, especially when they don't know?
Right.
If you don't know, then you don't know, then that's fine.
I was thinking actually today, it's funny that you brought this up, that everyone gets on the officials a lot, and just kind of deservedly so. But I think part of the reason people get on them so much now, or it's it's happening every week. Is I feel like they're better than they used to be. And now that officials are better and the technology is better and there is replay and the cameras are HD, you just kind of expect more. Whereas I think 20 years ago, it was just poof, whatever happens, happens. And this, it's the Cowboys and Indians out there, and it's just the lawlessness. And yeah, nowadays there's just such an expectation of perfection that I don't want to say we should leave the officials alone because we have to stay on top of them and tell them, hey, you're doing a bad job. But I think they're doing the best they can. Honestly, they're just people. You're right. I do like your rugby idea though. Just trying to sort it out before you have to overturn it or say it didn't go a certain way. There is some truth to that.
Well,
just a more fair system.
It's not a question of whether or not they're doing the best that they can, but I guess some of these like bang bang plays, and it's like, oh, like it happened in real speed, so it's hard for them to tell, and all this other stuff. And I always look at it like, you know what? I watch tennis. These people hit the ball at like 150 miles an hour. And I promise you, these linesmen are right like 95% of the time, whether or not it nicks the line or it doesn't. I mean, they are amazing.
That's a lot easier than calling holding. I mean,
it is. The ball's going 150 miles an hour. Like, how is that easier? Like, they can spot it, and I guess I just don't understand about like they can see that, but they can't tell where to spot the ball. Like, that's the stuff. Like I get it. Like, they're trying as hard as they can, and that's great. But I don't know. I just feel like, it's like in the NFL games today, and even in college. Like, I don't know what a catch is.
Yeah, the catch thing is getting a little weird.
It's crazy. I don't know. I don't. And it's like the way they interpret rules and the way that it's just. There's so many times like seasons are ruined based on a replay decision, and it's like, well, we got to go with the calling field because they called it.
That's how it was. Sorry.
And for them, it's like they don't know. It's either yay or nay. And so it's like, all right, I decided, yeah, he probably did, or like I think he did get in. When in actuality, like it's not even close. But I don't know. It's not indisputable. So I don't know. That's something that was bothering me since last week. So
you hate the officials.
I don't hate officials. I hate that they
refs.
make it so hard for them.
I know. Let's see. What's on my mind? Anything on my mind? Oh, there's been rumors around USC that Pat Hayden is going to resign, and allegedly that's not true. The rumors are not true. So everyone has to have their hopes dashed against a rock when he inevitably.
I hope he doesn't resign.
Yeah, no.
I think he's doing a bang-up job.
It's gonna be real fun when he hires a coach and then resigns. That'll be exciting.
Oh, that was the
best. Can't wait for that moment. Or he's just I don't even know. I don't know what's gonna happen. They love him though. So
yeah.
I mean, hey, he's the former Notre Dame play-by-play guy. You gotta love him too. I think that's just about it for today. As always, I got to thank the guys at Mash and Flutter for our intro song. Follow us on iTunes. When you do follow us, subscribe on iTunes, leave a nice review. We're getting more and more every week. There is, when you see Tiltingground on iTunes, there's also a football podcast. Listen to them. They do a great job. They're fun and interesting, just like us. Greg, what's your Twitter?
At Greg2126.
Greg was quiet this week, people.
I was.
He's been good. He's been good lately. I'm Michael Buto on Twitter. I've had some funny tweets just for you guys. There's Tiltingground at Twitter. We have all the updates, podcast updates, article updates, other podcast updates. We also have a Facebook page. The Untitled Notre Dame USC Football Podcast has a Facebook page. There's lots of good USC Notre Dame info there. So if you're a fan of either team, you will be kept up to date if you join the Facebook page. And the latest episodes are also posted there. That's all we got for this week. We'll be back next week. We record on Sunday nights, if you guys haven't noticed. And fight on.
Go Irish.